For the wordless picture book lesson, I chose to do it with preschoolers. I am using the objectives from the Iowa Early Learning Standards and Teaching Strategies Goal. In the Iowa Early Learning Standards, I'm using Area 6, Communications Language Literacy, Standard 6.2 PS. Children engage in early reading experiences with the benchmark 6.2 PS6. The child shows increasing comprehension of a story throughout retelling the story and/or recognizing story elements such as the plot or characters, comprehension and storytelling. And from Teaching Strategies Gold, Objective 18, comprehends and responds to books and other texts. Objective B uses emergent reading skills. Rating of 2, pretends to read a familiar book, treating each page as a separate unit, names and describes what is on each page using pictures as cues. The Girl on the Bicycle is a developmentally appropriate book for preschoolers with beautiful illustrations included. Most of the illustrations in the book are on brown paper with black lines and only a few pops of the color green, and we see the bicycle that the little girl wants. In this book, a little girl wants to buy a bicycle she sees in the window of a store, but when she returns home, she realizes that she doesn't have enough money to buy the bicycle and starts brainstorming ways to make the money. She meets a lady who takes her up on her willingness to help, and when she finally saves up the money, there's a surprise. This is an amazing wordless picture book that the reader can interpret in many different ways and associate with the time in their own life that they didn't have the money to buy something they wanted, so they had to work for it. Hi friends, today we are going to read a book with the title The Girl and the Bicycle. This book was illustrated by Mark Pett and is a very special book because this book does not have any words in it. A book with no words is called a wordless picture book. Now, you might be asking yourself, how will I know what the story is about if there are no words in it? Well, even though there are no words in the book, you can still know what a book is about by taking a look at the pictures. When you look at the pictures and make up a story that goes along with them, you are using a strategy called inferring. When you infer something, you use clues to guess what is happening and use your own knowledge to tell the story. Friends, do you think we can guess what the story is about by looking at the cover of a book? I think we can too. What do we see on the cover of this book? A little girl holding a little boy's hand, a boy eating ice cream, a green bicycle in the window. So based on what we see in the picture, what do we think this story is going to be about? Those are all great predictions. Let's see if any of us are right. There are a lot of people walking on the sidewalk doing different things. A man is walking with his hands in his pockets. A woman is carrying bags. An older lady is carrying groceries. And a man is walking a dog on a leash. But the two people that stand out most are a little girl and a little boy. They are holding hands as they walk down the sidewalk. The boy is also eating an ice cream cone. The girl suddenly stops in her tracks. She stares into a toy store window at a green bicycle. She stopped so suddenly that her little brother dropped the ice cream cone he was eating on the ground. After staring at the bicycle for a few minutes, she begins to run down the sidewalk, dragging her brother behind. Her brother looks back at the ice cream cone he dropped on the floor. When the little girl gets home, she runs to her room and grabs her piggy bank and dumps it out on the table. When she dumps it out, she looks sad because she only has 3 coins, and 3 coins is not enough to buy the green bicycle she saw in the store window. Her little brother is sitting nearby, stacking some blocks. Have you guys ever wanted something before but not had the money to buy it? Since the little girl doesn't have enough money to buy the bicycle she wants, she goes searching for money around her house. She looks through the pockets of clothes, in the dryer, and even in between the couch cushions. She then decides she's going to have to earn her money. So she hosts a lemonade stand and tries to sell lemonade to her neighbors. Her brother hides behind the sign. She's willing to sell all of her toys to buy this bicycle. And in this one, her brother is just sitting nearby, looking at his sister, kind of trying to see what she's doing. After all her hard work and searching, the little girl once again decides to check her piggy bank, but she still doesn't have enough money for this bicycle. She looks down with a sad face and her hands on her hips. Her brother's sitting on the floor nearby with a cat on his face? What? The little girl and her brother move outside and begin playing. She sits under the tree and is disappointed because she still doesn't have enough money for the bicycle. Her little brother is distracted. He's nearby, pushing all the leaves into a pile. That's curious. I wonder what he's going to do. The girl looks up at her brother as he throws the leaves into the air, and suddenly the girl has an idea. What do we think this little girl is thinking about? The little girl stands up and marches over to the shed in their backyard. What do you think she's going to grab out of this shed? When she walks out, she has a rake in her arms. This rake is so big. It's much bigger than she is. What is she doing with this rake? The little girl goes door to door in her neighborhood asking if she can rake there's leaves for some money. But the first two neighbors turned her away, saying they don't need or want her help. The little girl is kind of defeated when she goes to the third house. And the old woman there says she'd love to have the little girl help her rake her leaves. And she even has a dog for the little girl to play with. So the old lady shows the little girl where she can come in. The little girl begins to rake the old lady's leaves with the rake that is way bigger than she is. She rakes them into a large pile as the leaves continue to fall off the trees. The old lady is standing with her dog nearby, watching the girl. After most of the leaves are raked, the little girl gathers them into 3 bags. Again, these bags are much bigger than she is. She has a hard time carrying 1 bag, and the old lady carries the other 2, and the dog walks happily beside them. Now the season has changed. It's winter, but the little girl is still helping out the old lady so she can earn money for that bicycle. The little girl is now in the old lady's house, dusting, the older lady's vacuuming, and the dog is having a blast, rolling around on the floor. Once some of the snow has begun to pile up, the little girl goes outside and begins to shovel with a shovel that is still way bigger than she is. The old lady sees all the hard work she's doing and brings out some steaming cups of hot chocolate, to one of them for her. And the dog's right beside her, of course. The season has changed once again. Now it is spring, and the little girl is helping the old woman in her garden. She is planting some seeds with the old woman, and the dog is laying nearby outside watching them work. Little girl is helping the old woman clean and sweep out her garage now. Do you think she's made enough money for the bicycle? She's done a lot of hard work. The old woman is sorting through the boxes, and the little girl is sweeping as the dog just runs around exploring. Little girl continues to help the old woman out with chores to earn money for this green bicycle she wants. She trims the hedges, walks the woman's dog, and as she walks the dog, she passes by the toy store where she first saw the green bicycle. Does she finally have enough money to buy that bicycle? When the little girl gets home, she runs to her room, grabs her piggy bank, and comes and dumps it out on the table. But this time, the table is filled with all the money she's earned. Her little brother is sitting on the floor nearby, playing with a toy bicycle as the cat looks on. Do you think the little girl finally has enough money? I think she does too. She quickly shoves all her money into her purse, grabs her little brother's hand as he holds tightly onto his toy bicycle and runs out the door. Where are they headed? That's right, they're going to the toy store. When the little girl gets to the toy store, dragging her little brother along. With enough money to buy that green bicycle she's waited for months, she is shocked. The bicycle she has wanted and saved for months is gone. Where did it go, and what will the little girl do with all her money now? She sinks to the ground, disappointed that the bicycle she has wanted for such a long time is gone. Her little brother is playing on the ground like nothing has happened. He's playing with that toy bicycle he brought from home and a bug. When the little girl looks over at her brother, she has an idea. She jumps up, grabs her brother's hands, and runs to the door of the toy store. What do you think she's going to buy? Well, in a little while, the little girl comes out carrying a tricycle. She used all the money that she had worked hard for to buy a tricycle for her little brother. Her little brother jumps up for joy, dropping that toy bicycle because now he has a real tricycle. He jumps up, claps his hands with a big smile on his face. He is so happy to have a tricycle. But the little girl watches as her little brother hops on the tricycle and begins to ride down the sidewalk. She's excited for her brother, but disappointed that she doesn't have that bicycle she's wanted for so long and she worked so hard to save up for. As they continue to head on home, the little girl begins to smile. She sees the joy on her brother's face and that she was able to make him so happy by buying him a tricycle, even though she had to use her own money to do it and didn't really get anything in return. As they continue on their way home, they walk by the old lady's house. The old lady sees the little girl and her brother heading home and calls the little girl over. What do you think the old woman has to say to the little girl? Well, the little girl walks over towards the old woman as she's calling her over. Her dog's right next to her, and the little brother stops and waits for his sister. As the little girl follows the old lady into her yard, she has a surprise. The old lady bought the green bicycle that the little girl has been waiting on forever. The little girl is so happy and excited that the older woman did this for her. She is so happy because now she and her brother both have bikes and they can ride them together. She quickly hops on her new bicycle as a gift from the old lady and rides off. The older woman and her dog stand by, waving goodbye as they ride off. When suddenly, the little girl stops. She hops off her bike and runs over and gives the old woman a big hug to say thank you. Friends, that was such a good book, wasn't it? I thought it was so good. It was a wordless picture book that we were able to read by guessing what was happening in the story on the pictures. We did a great job inferring, friends. Now, I want each of us to go back to our seats and draw a picture of something that we have wanted, that we want, and that we're going to work hard to earn. We're going to think of different ways we can earn it, and we'll come around and write down the different ways we can earn the toy that we really want.